Hey, Kirk with Teacher Tutorials, and I am here with Dr. Lean at the Explorer Academy here in Fargo. And so, just briefly, Justin, tell us what Explorer Academy is, and what it
Sure.
does for the Fargo Public Schools.
Yeah. So thanks for having me here. Explorer Academy is a K through 8 special education campus for Fargo Public School students that typically just need a little extra. Either their school environment, it could be the lights flickering too much and they have such intense sensory needs that they need something that can be a little more controlled or individualized to what they need. And then we also have just kind of the facility itself built in to really meet the needs of students. Lots of flexible classrooms. So we have a student that may come in and had a really rough night. We have the flexibility to meet them where they're at. Do you want to work out in these large pods that we have? We have lots of flexible furniture. Do you want to lay on your stomach, etc.? We want to meet them where they're at rather than have them fit into what our school capacity is, which has been really unique for Explorer Academy. We're in our second year, so we don't have tons of successful transitions, but we have tons of success stories. When we think of the trajectory of our students, where they've come to maybe like 1 hour of instruction here at Explorer Academy to being a full day, or minimizing the behaviors or maybe some of their sensory deficits that really strike them, they're able to kind of get through that. So, and that comes with a higher staff, kind of population here, low student, high staff designation, but we're here really to meet the needs of the students. And each one comes in very unique, and we're here to meet them.
So cool. And we toured before this spring or
Yeah.
summer, and it was amazing what this facility is. And so, really, just kind of want to talk about the adopt a school part. And obviously,
Yeah.
E-Transfer Warehouse just recently adopted, made it part of our adopt a school program.
Yep.
And just kind of maybe talk about how the impact we've had with Explorer Academy.
Yeah. So students here are coming from all walks of life, right? And typically they're bringing some type of trauma, whether they've been kicked out of school, whether they might be experiencing homelessness, etc. There's a lot of needs, and we then become that home school. What is difficult because our students have so many needs, typically that also extends into their families. A pretty great impact that they're struggling through as an entire family unit. With that, we don't have a PTA. We don't have, families that can give more beyond getting their kid here to school on time, or getting them dinner the night before, supper as it's set out here in North Dakota. And so we saw kind of a larger gap in some of the wraparound that we needed to do for kiddos here. And in one of those opportunities, honestly, you and Trish and the team reached out and said, hey, McKinley Elementary says we might be able to help you out. And it truly was, meeting us right where we're at. We had such great needs, and we as staff members were filling that, whether it was food, whether it was funding a field trip or not having field trips, etc. And so by embarking on this partnership this year, you've been able to provide some of those gaps and make it additional possibilities. What that looks like is getting kids snow boots, snow pants. For some of our students, it might just be bra, underwear, socks. It sounds like for one student, yep, staff can take care of it, but when you have a larger population, or you know that our families are struggling and they have siblings too, we have to meet greater needs. I think what was most exciting, our kind of first rollout that we had, where you hit some of those basic needs, is just really seeing students glow. I mean, they got a new coat, or maybe it was new shoes because I might not wear the traditional shoes that tie up. So one of the items specific for one of our students was no back, just a slip-on shoe, because otherwise it would be middle of the winter here, 20 below, and they would be wearing flip-flops. But we found something alternative. They love it. They're wearing it daily. Just brightened their day. And once we meet those basic needs, or Heat Transfer Warehouse was able to do that, we can then move on as a school, worry about their education, worry about their social emotional learning, all those academic pieces. You helped us meet their basic needs, which is really exciting. The other facet of this partnership this year, which was really exciting, was giving students opportunity for a field trip. Some students have had that experience. We have students that have been totally removed from school at many times. So either their behavior warranted that they don't go on a field trip, or maybe it was they missed out during those times, or maybe they were in homebound instruction where they were never in the building. So the partnership was a writing curriculum in partnership with NDSU Buys and Strides as well. But Heat Transfer Warehouse generously donated funding so that we could provide buses to go see horses. So our students were writing to horses rather than having to write to anyone else, because it might be a while since you've been writing in classes, but that causes a big behavior. I gotta write a letter to a family member or something else, I don't want it. I shouldn't have to do it. Why can't I just text? But there's still value in learning those techniques. And so in writing to a horse, we saw kids lighten up. They were able to not have that anxiety that I'm doing work, I'm talking to an animal. They would say things that they typically wouldn't say to us, or they would ask questions and really push themselves to inquire about anatomy, etc. And then you fulfilled that last part of the dream by getting them there to meet their horses. And I know it's such a busy time of year, you didn't get to see that, but the impact of bringing even the anxiety of students down at a busy time of year like December, right before the holidays, bringing them down, all the calming strategies and all the opportunities that they were able to embark on was just truly humbling. It was amazing. We even had middle school students that had been fighting the week before, and they're like, hey, I'm sorry that I was fighting with you, I didn't mean it. Cool, it's fine, let's move on. So we had those little breakthroughs. Those are the things that you don't see, but I want to know that, those generous donations, like, they made huge impacts on our school.
It's so cool to hear, like, obviously, you think about just a simple field trip.
Yeah.
It's not possible. And I think that's really what Heat Transfer Warehouse is like mission, I feel, is now, if you could say to others, because we feel we want to like recruit more people to adopt more schools.
Yeah.
To eliminate, and what I think is how much out of pocket comes out of the teachers.
Yeah.
And that's like kind of like one of our missions is like, how do we get rid of that? And so if you could say anything like the corporate people looking at possibly adoptive schools, what kind of involvement would you say, hey, to get into? Like, don't just say, hey, we're an adopt school, but like, what do you think you would tell them like to do?
I would say, definitely like look into your schools that are struggling with meeting those basic needs. So obviously, those Title I schools, you're serving one already, McKinley Elementary, where families aren't meeting those areas, and you have teachers that are providing those socks, those underwear, even just snacks. The salaries are not matching what we're trying to push out
exactly.
From those teachers, but I think getting in those schools, and you guys are doing a good job of also embedding yourselves and seeing what the culture of those schools look like. Schools are struggling right now. The mental health of not only the students but the staff are lagging, and it's strife, and we know in every job it is, but even more so when we're trying to shape and develop these little humans to go out. But it could be even sweatshirts, which we didn't mention, but it's something similar that you're doing for both campuses. What that provides a student, hey, a sense of ownership. hey, I belong to this school. I look just like the staff members that can afford it, write a check or buy something. So getting to know your schools, and they're unique. I don't think that anyone asks for anything more than what they truly need. But once those basic needs can be met at schools, it allows us as school professionals then to do the rest, do the learning, see what other ways we can help support families, rather than us struggling to help someone else that's struggling. And then the cycles never really comes to full fruition.
That's obviously with Teacher Rose, that's obviously my passion behind this is like just coming in and say, now how do we get to all the schools? And so really, we appreciate your time and obviously talking about it, because we really want to go out and really, how do we get all the schools in Fargo taken care of?
Yeah.
And then take steps to reach out farther in the community, everything else. And so I just think if we could find a way to get rid of all of that, just what comes out of our pocket for teachers, we eliminate that, how much more better we'd be with the schools.
Yeah.
So we appreciate the time and obviously talking about it, and obviously, it's cool to see those things happen, and the field trips and everything else. And obviously, we feel very, because Transferos is in the garment industry, but obviously very proud as far as being able to supply a shirt or a sweatshirt or a jacket to all these students and staff, so it can be like, this is your school, this is your place.
Yeah.
So, and like I says, we just want to keep it going.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we're obviously very appreciative of it. Small campus. I mean, you do have to start somewhere. So, if it was just the sweatshirts or even socks, I mean, that makes the difference. So I think going back out to the general, community, whatever you can give, even if it's time to go volunteer and paint some walls. We're fortunate to have a newer building, but there are schools that struggle with even making a classroom that feels warm and inviting. So give whatever you can, and it does make a difference, the smallest gesture.
Good advice.